it is a Friday morning, and with the sound of, oh, what a beautiful morning, that means it is time for the first federal program on 92.1 WROI, streaming on WROIFM.com, Channel 5 on RTC, as well as the First Federal Facebook page. And joined, as always, is Dick Belcher.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
You're getting good at that, Paul.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Okay. Well, it's going to be a great day. Going to be warm.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of things happening around the community. It's homecoming at Rochester High School.
It is.
They're going to have a big parade tonight. Tanner's going to talk a little more about that. But Kosciuszko County Customer Appreciation Day for us. That's at the tonight, 4 to 7, at the Tippy Creek Winery. Where is that?
Leesburg, Indiana.
Okay, Leesburg. Okay. Well, we had the Democrats debate last night. Did you watch that, Tanner?
I did not. I missed it.
And you missed half of your education.
I know. I guess I'll have to get caught up on Twitter or something.
Elizabeth Warren was there, and she's quite a show lady. Okay. Well, the Federal Reserve, they're going to meet again this coming week on the 17th and 18th. There's anticipation that they're going to drop rates again. We'll see. The president's jawboning them. I see Walmart's gearing up for home delivery.
Yep.
They're going to have lots and lots of places. So. Okay, today the Valley Schools are honoring their distinguished alumni. They are Sandra and Terry Tucker. That's Maple Leaf Farms. John Hart, Ryan Williams, Rick Shepard, Mike Jones, Tim Flack, who is deceased, and Marty Gearhart, deceased. Congratulations to those recipients of the Outstanding Alumni from Tippy Valley. Well, we got a little trivia this morning about Fulton County Habitat, because we're going to have Mr. Roberts on here in a little bit, talk about Habitat. What year was Fulton County Habitat for Humanity approved as an affiliate? Was it 1988, 94, or 98? And another little trivia we can put in there is how many homes has the Habitat built since that founding? So. All right, Tanner, tell us a little bit about the sports world.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. As you let off there, you said it's homecoming tonight for Rochester High School. They're hosting the Manchester Squires. The homecoming parade starts tonight at 6 o'clock, and that will go from Grace United Methodist Church to Main Street, and then eventually end up at Rochester High School. And then the Rochester FFA is having their annual pork chop dinner tonight. Before the game, food will be served from 5 o'clock until the start of the game, and cost for that is $10. So go get yourself a good meal, watch some high school football, and have a good Friday night.
Yeah, and they have that set up so you can just drive through if you want to take out.
Sure.
And so get your $10 out and just drive right through.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. It goes to a good cause, and you'll get a good meal out of it. So. But Rochester was victorious last week over Whitco, so they have a 2-1 record going into tonight, and Manchester has a record of 1-2. So it should be an exciting TRC game. Tippecanoe Valley hosts North Miami tonight. Both of those teams are 2-1, so that should be a good one and go a long way towards the TRC standings. Winamac travels to LaVille tonight. Winamac got a win last week over North White, so they're 1-2. And LaVille is 2-1. And Caston is still looking for their first win on the year. They're 0-3. They host defending 1A state champs Pioneer tonight, who have a record of 2-1. So a lot of local high school football action going on tonight. And in college games, we got Purdue got their first win of the year last weekend, 42-24 over Vanderbilt, thanks to record days by quarterback Elijah Sindelar and wide receiver Rondell Moore. They will host TCU tomorrow night, who is 1-0. TCU is a 2.5-point favorite. That's a 7:30 Big Ten Network game.
When they were playing at home, the home team wins.
I like that theory, so
Yeah,
I
right.
hope that comes true. Purdue's wearing all black uniforms tomorrow night, and TCU's wearing all white uniforms, so there shouldn't be any mix-up between the uniforms. That should be a fun one, though. Always fun to have home night games at Ross-Ade. Indiana beat Eastern Illinois 52-0 last week. Now it gets a little tougher tomorrow as they host Ohio State.
A little tougher.
A little tougher, maybe a lot tougher. Ohio State is 17.5-point favorites.
Okay.
That will count as a Big Ten Conference game, of course. And Notre Dame's back in action after having last weekend off. They have their home opener against New Mexico tomorrow. Notre Dame's 35-point favorites. So quite a point spread on that. And then local pro football, the Chicago Bears travel to Denver to play the Broncos on Sunday. Both of those teams are 0-1, and the Bears are a 2.5-point favorite on the road. That could be a game. The first one that scores 20 points wins, because both offenses struggled week one. And the Colts travel down to Tennessee to play the Titans, who are 1-0. The Colts are looking for their first win as they're 0-1. The Titans are 3-point favorites. So a lot of football action going on this weekend.
Okay, Tanner, now what was your observation of the Colts game last week?
Well, when they got down 15, I thought they were in trouble, and then I was pretty impressed with the way they battled back and forced overtime. Fortunately, I think they used a lot of their energy to force overtime. We're kind of a little gassed when it came time for overtime. But the Chargers are a pretty good team. They should be a playoff team, so I don't think Colt fans should be hanging their heads down too low. So
Do we still have the same field goal kicker?
Adam Vinatieri's still their active kicker on the roster, so
He's old.
he's done enough over his career resume. I don't think one game is enough to switch in positions. But that is a storyline to keep an eye on going forward. So I got a few tidbits here this morning. This one's from a ways back. On this day in 1503, Michelangelo began working on his statue of David. Pretty famous statue now worldwide.
Yeah.
On this day in 1789, the first loan to the U.S. government was made. And on this day in 19...
No, wait, no. Who made that loan?
It didn't go into any more detail than that, so...
It's important.
I know. I should have looked more into that. And on this day in 1977, General Motors introduced the first U.S. diesel automobile. It was the Oldsmobile 88.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today is National Hug Your Boss Day.
Ooh, okay.
National Blame Someone Else Day. National Fortune Cookie Day. National Peanut Day. And National Positive Thinking Day. So
Okay, we'll take the positive thinking day.
yeah, I thought that was a good one to end on with her. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to hug my bosses.
Yeah, I'm not a big hugger, so sorry, Dick. I don't think I'm going to hug you this morning.
Thank you, Tanner.
You're welcome.
Some upcoming events. Friends of the Fulton County Public Library is having their fall book sale today and tomorrow at the community room at the library. The sale is from 10 to 4 today and 10 to 1 on tomorrow. Junior Achievement is holding its 5th and final scavenger hunt on September the 19th. Registration is $60 per team. Contact Beth Miller for more information about that. The first ever Akron Summer Inn Festival will be held on Saturday, September 28th. We're going to talk more about that in another week or so. This is came out of the Junior Achievement program, right?
Fulton County Leadership.
The Fulton
County,
County Leadership, yes. Also, the Optimists now have their pumpkins for sale down on East 9th Street. They have a brand new building there that if it's raining, you can get in out of the rain, and the pumpkins and gourds are ready, and the reports I get, it's a great crop coming on. Milestone, T-Bone Pickens, the Oracle of Oil, passed away at 91. Did you know that?
Yes, I
You
did.
know T-Bone?
I did not know of him, but I did hear of his passing, and then that kind of led me to some investigation on who exactly he was.
He was 91.
Yes.
He had had 5 wives. Is there a correlation there between number of wives and number of years you live?
I think there might be.
Okay, let's give some flowers today to the Fulton County RMC for donating $1,000 to the Rochester Middle School 8th graders for their Washington trip coming up in May. You know, that comes from the little roundup program that they have on your RMC bill. If you agree to it, if the bill comes out to odd cents, which it almost always does, then they round that up and that goes into the fund. So it's a nice little area for giving, and they make good use of it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the money news. The Dow was up 45 yesterday. It's closed at 27,182. I read this morning that the Dow is within 1% of its all-time high, and it's anticipated that it might do that today, so we'll see what happens there. We raised interest rates on mortgages 1/8 of a point this week. It had been going down, and we're seeing some strength in that in the 10-year Treasury bill, which kind of regulates the rates on mortgages. So up slightly still, but still a 30-year fix under 4%, which is a bargain. Come on in and see us today. We're open until 5 p.m. and tomorrow from 8:30 to noon. And if your current bank that you're using is closing up in a couple of weeks, come to First Federal. We will welcome you with the red carpet. So you can always bank with us online and with our mobile app, which is free to download. Our ATM is open 24/7 as well if you need some cash. Zelle, person-to-person payments can be made right from your own mobile app. We offer many different mortgage products: USDA, FHA loans, conventional loans, one-stop construction loans, and many others. Premier first-time home buyers. We got some loans that you can get without a minimum amount of down, without any private mortgage insurance, assuming that you qualify. And we'll be glad to talk to you about that. Here in Rochester, our loan originators, Ben Dalton or John Schaefer, can discuss that with you, and Winamac Bill Morris can give you the details. We offer simply free checking accounts and simply free business checking accounts when you open a new checking account, and you get a free tumbler now, right?
Yep,
Tanner?
tumbler, yep.
That's a large glass. Or
Yeah, it's a pretty good size, yeah.
Okay. We offer commercial lending for businesses. Contact Lindy Breeden for more information. We also offer financial services. Contact Mark Blubaugh or Brian Bell today for more information. Borrowers must meet the underwriting guidelines. We are a member of FDIC and an equal housing lender, and an NMLS numbers 399927. We have to give all that information so we don't go to jail.
Yeah, gotta stay legal.
Gotta stay legal, yeah. Okay. Today we have Andrew Roberts. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, Dick. How you doing?
Glad to have you here. You're chairperson of the Habitat for Humanity, right?
Yes, I am. I've been a board member for 6 years now and president for the last 2.
Okay. How did you get interested in Habitat originally?
Actually, it was through an acquaintance at church that was a board member at the time. Just started coming out to some build days with him. This is 7-8 years ago. I just really fell in love with the program. Good way to meet people. I was somewhat new to the community at the time, so just to get active and meet some other people, and from there joined up as a board member and been happy to serve for the last 6 years.
Well, you mentioned that you're kind of new in the community. Give us a little bit of your background. Where did you come from?
Sure.
Did you fall off the truck?
I'm a Winamac native, so I grew up.
Winamac?
Yep. So
okay.
About 20 miles away. But went to Purdue, and after graduating, I moved out to Phoenix for about 6 years. Did a couple jobs out there, and then my wife and I moved back to Rochester. Well, we moved to Rochester about 10 years ago. Took a job at Bronability in Winamac, so I've been driving there ever since.
Okay, Braun Corporation. Tell us about that. That's a great
Oh, sure.
organization.
Yeah, so Braun Ability, it's been in business for almost 50 years now. Our founder, Ralph Braun, out of necessity with his disability, built a wheelchair lift in his garage with his uncle at the time, and from there it just blossomed into a fruitful business where people were coming all over from the United States, bringing a large conversion van and wanting Ralph to put a lift in it for their kids that had disabilities at the time. And from there, it just kind of grew into a business, and now it's an international business. But, you know,
Okay, now you mentioned about Mr. Braun's disability. Tell us about that.
yeah, I mean, as a young child, I mean, it was about, I think when he was in middle school, started to notice some physical disabilities, and you know, by the time he was around 13 years old, he lost the ability to walk, and he actually fabricated his own wheelchair, one of the first power chairs. Him and his father, he calls him a dirt farmer. So they fabricated a powered wheelchair in their garage, and he started wheeling that around town. He was, after he finished high school, he was an inspector for one of the local manufacturers there in Winamac, so he'd ride his wheelchair alongside the road just to get to work and back. And from there, you know, he decided, you know what, this isn't working, especially in the winter, riding a wheelchair alongside the road. So he found an old postal truck that had a mailbag lift there in the rear, welded on an extension on the back, and that was enough to get him in and out of that vehicle. And that was really the first handicap accessible wheelchair van at the time. And from there, that only lasted a few years until it was beyond repair, and that's when him and his uncle at the time decided, you know what, that's where, I think it was Dodge at the time, came out with a full-size van, and they decided they could put a lift out the side doors that you could get in and out of, and that's kind of how the business blossomed. And from there, I mean, it was, you know, it was something that people had a need for, and you know, kind of one of those great American, you know, intuition and success stories that you hear.
That's taking a sow's ear and making a silk purse out of the
Absolutely.
disability.
Yep.
Yeah, quite a story.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing.
No,
that.
it's a great role model.
All right, now let's go back to Habitat.
Sure.
What's
Totally.
happening with Habitat?
All right, so right now at Habitat, we are currently building. Well, actually, I don't want to give away the trivia question. You haven't.
That's all right.
You want to give the answer? All right.
Yeah,
So we're currently active on our 17th house here in Fulton County. So I guess the answer.
17.
Yep. So we have completed 16 houses. If you want the
Okay.
trivia question. So right now we're actually building here in downtown Rochester at the corner of Fulton and 7th. So catty corner from the library. So we're excited to be back here in the downtown area, kind of revitalizing an area that, you know, had a dilapidated house on it at one time, and they bulldozed that house over, and we're actually going to build 2 houses on that lot. So our next house will actually be right next door too.
Okay. All right. So how you can use some volunteers and probably use some cash.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll always take cash in any form you can give it to us.
All right.
But-
Give us a little detail on the building this house. How do you do it,
Sure.
and how do you utilize volunteers?
Okay, well, first we'll start, how do we build it? The last 2 houses, we've actually formed a pretty good partnership with Rochester Homes here in Fulton County. You know, they've been a great partner for us, giving us very nice pricing and doing us a solid as far as getting a shell house built for us that fits our build criteria. And that really helps with our volunteers, where we could set the house kind of, you know, actually we sat the house this year in late February, so right there, you know, we already had the foundation work done, we could set the house, and that gives us really the good weather season to complete all the exterior, get all the heat and HVAC hooked up, so that way once the weather breaks again, you know, we're not out in the cold. So that's kind of how we've done the last 2 houses. Prior to that, we have done some stick-built homes as well. That's something that typically we have to hire some outside contractors to do some of the framing, but you know, the drywall and all that type of stuff we can handle on our own. So usually the shell will come from Rochester Home. We'll do all the interior drywall, all the finished work, install the kitchen, everything else.
Well, it's a great program.
Oh, absolutely. And then on the money side, right now we're kind of in our fundraising mode, and we really try to push this neighborhood assistance program. So they call it a NAP grant, and that's something the state of Indiana has done for the last, I don't know, maybe decade. And we get funds from the state that's a matching grant So if anybody would like to give, it's really the best return for your money as far as giving to a nonprofit. So with the SNAP grant, say you were to give $1,000, you're going to get a $500 Indiana state tax credit back when you file your taxes. So you actually get 50% of your money back on a tax credit.
And also, you could take that $1,000 as a federal deduction for giving to a
Sure.
not-for-profit.
Absolutely.
So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're not going to get much better as far as giving and actually getting something back for it. And you're helping a great cause.
Yeah, we're speaking this morning to Andrew Roberts, who's president of Habitat for Humanity. You guys have been around a long time, have done a lot of things. Tell us about, maybe some people out there might be interested in getting involved.
Oh, sure.
How do they get involved?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to get involved and what we've kind of adopted over the last couple of years is if you want to go to our website, that's Fulton County Habitat for Humanity.org, a full word. There's a link there where you can click volunteer. And when you go on that site, you'll send us an email with your email and cell phone number. And what we've been doing here lately is most of our build dates are on Saturday mornings. Usually we work from 9 to noon. And that week we'll actually send out an email blast to anybody that is on that volunteer list saying, okay, this Saturday we're working from 9 to noon. We're going to be doing interior painting or trim work. If you or anybody in the community would like to show up and help us, by all means show up.
But 9 to noon, that's banker's hours.
Well, we learn from the best.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, well, and most of our board members, I mean, the folks that do lead our build committee, most of them are retired contractors. These guys, I mean, they work throughout the week too. So if you are retired and you want to show up during the week, by all means, there's opportunities there too. But these guys do in the summer. They like to work in the morning, and then they usually play some golf in the afternoon. They live a pretty good life, I would imagine.
Tanner, he'd like that.
Yeah.
He
There
likes,
goes your retirement plan, Tanner.
Yeah.
he likes working from 9 to 12 and then golf.
Absolutely.
Oh.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Sounds already good.
That's why you can't get a hold of Tanner after 12.
Well, tell us a little more about the house that you have under construction now.
All right, sure.
How far along is it?
All right, so we're now in the interior detail phase. So we just finished all the interior painting last week. This week we started on a lot of the trim work, so hanging doors, framing, or all the trim around the baseboards. And the goal is here toward the end of the month we'll start putting in all the flooring, so carpet and vinyl. And then at that point we're going to start in on the kitchen and hanging the cabinets.
Okay, now tell us how you make a selection as who occupied or who purchased this, and then give us the details on purchasing.
Sure. So there's a qualification process you have to go through. So again, if you go to our website, there's an apply now link on our website, and you can fill out an application. It's a pretty thorough application, much like you would have if you're giving out a mortgage as well. And there's certain financial qualifications. You have to have a steady job, and you need to have a certain income level. So really, our target demographic is typically like a single family that is currently renting, has a good history of making payments, and really you have to show credit worthiness is usually what we call it, where it's not saying that you have a great credit score, but that you are paying toward your debt. And it's typically where some folks that don't qualify, if you just have stagnant debt, that you are not making any payments, maybe if it's only $20 a month or something along those lines, that just shows good credit worthiness in our eyes. But if you're just letting your debt sit, that typically would disqualify a family. Actually, so people go through the application process. We have a family selection committee, so they review all these applications, and then once a family is qualified, they are presented to our Habitat board, and we vote on the family as far as being the next selected family. And then once selected, that's when we get into the sweat equity. So as part of the
Tell us about sweat equity.
Yeah, this is the good part. So anytime a family is selected, you are required to do a certain number of community service volunteer hours, and then also what we deem sweat equity hours, so actually working on the physical house itself. So that means getting there and swinging hammers and helping to hang drywall, helping to do the painting, and really we want you to be a part of the build process, and it really helps grow that ownership and pride in the house too.
Skin in the game.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know what we're offering is an interest-free loan. I mean, ideally, once you are the selected family, you're making payments to us. We hold the mortgage as a nonprofit, so you're paying us directly, but you're paying 100% principal.
No interest.
No interest. Yeah, you have a hard time beating that, don't you?
Yeah, we'd have a tough time matching that. So
Yeah, and we're excited right now. Actually, this in December we're going to have our first mortgage burning. So someone has actually went through the 30-year mortgage process, and they're paying off their first loan.
Okay.
Actually, I think it was a 20-year note at that time.
right. Okay, now is there a possibility that this person that gets that home can profit from that? For instance, 5 years down the road, he sells it at a nice profit.
Somewhat, yeah. I'm not saying that they'd make a killing on it, but you do have to hold the house. I believe it's a minimum of 5 years is written in the contract. At that point, yeah, you could sell the home, and obviously you're going to have to pay us off what you owe. And I mean, typically that doesn't happen. I don't think we've had
Sure.
in the 16 homes we have, we haven't. I mean, there's been a couple that have sold their homes for other reasons, but I mean, they've lived in them.
But
10
if
years
they
plus.
sell it before the 5 years, any profit goes back to
Absolutely,
Habitat,
yes.
right?
Yeah, and that's in the
Yeah.
contract as well.
Well, that's a great program.
Sure.
Yeah, well, congratulations on the work that you did have done on these for the years and years. And you mentioned this is your 17th home.
Yeah, 17th home right now.
Okay.
We're hoping finish up this home by the end of the year is our target right now.
Okay, and are you going to build the next one right next to this one?
Yep, be right next door, right a catty corner from the library there.
Okay.
Everybody wants to drive by and check it out.
Okay. Andy, thanks for coming by this morning. Thanks for your work.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, our trivia this morning, in what year was the Fulton County Habitat for Humanity approved? As an affiliate, was it 1988, 94, or 98? You know what it was?
Oh, I'm gonna feel bad if I get it wrong. I'm gonna go 94.
No, 98.
Oh, I knew it was in the 90s.
My guess would have been 94 as well, so.
Okay, 98, that's when it was established. Let's close with these words of wisdom from Greta Brooker Palmer, American journalist. Happiness is a byproduct of an effort to make someone else happy.
It's a very good quote.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
Thanks, you do the same, Dick, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay,
I'll be here if you'll be here.
I'll be here.
All right, sounds good. This has been the first federal program on WROI, WROIFM.com, RTC Channel 5, and the First Federal Facebook page.